Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga. You know how that was gonna come into play. What's up, guys? It's me, the ALE Prince, here to give you my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. Holy shit, how do you top Captain America the Winter Soldier? By basically putting a bunch of unknowns, a green chick, weird looking, like badass looking dude, a professional wrestler, a guy who used to be fat, Vin Diesel as a talking tree, and Bradley Cooper as a fucking raccoon. That sounded random as shit, but it worked. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one of the absolute best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies ever. Not just that, everybody says that this is a great MCU movie. Not a lot of people claim it to be one of the best superhero movies of all time, because this is a really, really damn good movie. Just the vibe. Every movie after this tries to be Guardians of the Galaxy, from putting so much music, pop music in their movies, to putting, trying to like make sure like everybody's an unknown and stuff. Like, a lot of people got a lot of surprises out of this movie, and we start off with a young Chris Pratt, or young Peter Quill, should I say. Basically seeing his mother in his deathbed. And she's gone. She had cancer. She had a brain tumor, and he left. And then he gets kidnapped by Yondu, and I was like, what the hell? This is kind of random, but it all plays out at the very end. It all plays out more and more, and it was a pretty good introduction to Star-Lord's character, like where they just fast forward straight to where he is now. And then we get basically he's doing his job because he works with Yondu, and they basically steal some shit. So as we just see Peter Quill in his mission, and then he turns on his music. He plays "Come and Get Your Love." He's just walking around dancing, and that's when he finds the purple Infinity Stone that he was supposed to steal. And let me get my notes real quick. What Infinity Stone is this one? Hold on, give me a second. What the hell? Let's see. What's the name of this Infinity Stone? I should start memorizing what the name of these stones are now, but let me just pause real quick. There we go. The Power Stone. Yeah, the Power Stone basically gives people power, but if you hold it for so long, you might have too much power and you blow up and die. So it's a matter of fact of how long you hold the orb. And it's it's in an orb, but it's eventually it's the Power Stone, of course. And this movie really helped people see the bigger picture, because when the Guardians eventually do meet the Collector, they learn about what this stone does and what's the whole point of these stones, and how everybody's just trying to collect them. And it also introduces, after the orb has been stolen by Star-Lord, we get introduced to Gamora and Nebula, two sisters, but they sent Gamora because she was the favorite sister, and they sent her to stop Star-Lord, or Peter Quill. I still remember when he called himself Star-Lord. That was funny. Like, you may know me as Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. And I just remember like people were just laughing and enjoying it. Then we also get introduced to Rocket and Groot, who are just smugglers trying to get some money. And then they find out that Star-Lord is worth a fortune if they take him to jail. So you have all four of them fighting each other. And then eventually they all go to jail. They're locked in a prison, and eventually Rocket and Groot already have a plan to escape. But it was funny, their interactions when they're in jail. Like, yeah, you're the reason why we're here in this. I am Groot. And then he's like, yeah, I enjoyed hearing I am Groot, but I've heard it so many times already. He's like, yeah, but here's the thing. Groot is different. He only says I am and Groot, just in that order. And that was just a great like little moment. Also when that blue dude is like messing with Peter's stuff, he's listening to his music and he's like, "Hey, don't fuck with my shit." And it shows that like really in reality, cops do that shit. Like if they kidnap you, they like start fucking with your shit. Like yeah, so there was that. Um, and basically in um they're in jail and Gamora's the most hated person there because she and her father Thanos have killed multiple people. And then we get introduced to Drax the Destroyer, aka Batista. At the time, I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, and at the time, I wasn't that high on the MCU, especially after Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World. But the real reason why I really wanted to see this is how is Batista gonna act on this? Because at first he was just a professional wrestler. We knew him from the Man with the Iron Fist, which sucked. He had a mini UFC career, which sucked. And he had a mini run in 2014 and main evented WrestleMania 30, which sucked. So, I don't know. Batista just had it all bad at this point, and his breakout performance was here. He was just awesome. He was just a badass that doesn't know sarcasm. And basically, he wanted to kill Gamora because he wanted a he just wanted to get payback from Ronan the Accuser, who was the villain from this movie, a worker for Thanos. Basically he was, and then I remember Stardust like, "You want her alive? Trust me, cause then she could get you to Ronan the Accuser, and then you can." Why would I want to put my finger in his throat? And then he like, "No, this means like you're gonna kill him." He like, "No, I'm not gonna cut his head off. I'm gonna slice it off myself." Like he just doesn't know sarcasm, and it was just funny. And it made him even likable. Also, that escape from them, it was awesome. Like them escaping, they're getting like everything they need. He's like, "I need that guy's leg." "Oh wait, I was just joking. I don't really need that." He's like, "Wait, you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, I was just joking. I don't need that. I just want to see how funny he looked." So that was just funny. Like it just showed who Rocket is, who Groot is. In this little scene, they team up for a little bit, but you already know who they are already. And they're basically up to sell the Power Stone. And Yandu is just trying to get the Power Stone because he knows he'd get a fortune out of that. Yeah, basically they go to the collector. He tells them about what these stones do and how if one collects all, they turn evil, and that's what Thanos wants. Basically after after Drax is planning so hard to, he doesn't care about money. He just wants to kill Ronan the Accuser because he killed his family. And that's a good story for Ronan the Accuser. He is a pretty decent villain, but at the end of the day, he's just some blue dude that has the orb and just says, "Fuck Thanos, I'm gonna take over myself. Screw what Thanos tells me to do." That's basically all he was. And I don't know, he just kind of came off too cartoonish. Even when at the end, when Peter is challenging him to a dance-off, it's it's just like, really, what the hell are you doing, dude? So there's that. And also, one of the coolest things about this movie is the whole music element to it. Like, I remember this became one of the highest selling albums because of how good this music was, and props to them to pulling it off. The problem is now that every movie has tried to do the same thing. Even Guardians 2 to an extent wasn't working that well. Deadpool tried its hardest. It was good, but not as great as Guardians used their music. Suicide Squad bombed. And yeah, I guess only Marvel knows how to do it, because I'm thinking like all the movies that have done this, like Thor 3, Black Panther down the road. Baby Driver is probably the only exception outside of Disney to do it correctly. So there was that. And basically, after Yandu wanting that Power Stone so badly, he says that basically Yandu and his crew are gonna have to team up with the Guardians to um, to save the the Earth or save the planets from being destroyed by Ronan the Accuser. Um, and my favorite part was one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie is when Peter Quill talks to everybody in a circle like, yeah, I sit here with a lot of people who lost something, lost it all, um and they have nothing worth to fight for. I mean, the least we could do is fight and die together. And that's when everybody decides to team up for the first time. And it showed this movie that it's humorous and it has heart, and it's one of my favorite elements. And then when all of them are teaming up, they're using everybody to stop Ronan the Accuser. They used the government or the space government, like when they call John C. Riley. They have they got everything basically. They got the Guardians and Yandu's crew, and throughout this movie, you just see like everybody just teaming up and fighting everybody, and it was just a good moment because after this, the team just became a family. Speaking of family, the battle with Gamora and Nebula was pretty cool. We all thought Nebula was dead, but eventually they bring her back. Why not? And yes, this was just like really cool. This is a good battle scene, and my one of the coolest scenes also was when um Peter grabs the Infinity Stone after it's off of Ronan the Accuser's hammer. Peter grabs it for a while, but he doesn't explode like the other chick that worked for the Collector. And then Gamora's like, Peter, grab my hand, and he has a flashback of his mom when she told him grab my hand and he didn't want to. And that was just a cool little moment. It actually kind of teared you up for a little bit. And then you have all four of them holding the Infinity Stone. They're all grabbing each other and holding the Infinity Stone together. The reason why I say four is because Groot, unfortunately, kind of dies in this movie. Yes, they were all gonna explode with the ship, but then Groot makes like a big globe, and Groot was so charming, even as just a big Groot. Like people say that Baby Groot is cute, but like Big Groot is where he had the heart and everything. But when he like basically saves everybody, when he turns everybody into a Brent, because all he says is "I am Groot." The big moment was when Rocket's like, "What are you doing? Like, you can't do this. You'll die." And he says, "We are Groot." The only time he's ever said that. And it was just great. A cool moment. And I really loved it. And it was so cool that James Gunn, a guy who's probably not had the best resume of movies. I mean, Super was overrated. He wrote Scooby-Doo, but he had shitty directors, but, you know. So, I don't know. James Gunn had a lot of choice to do with this movie. Basically taking 5 unknown characters and making them the absolute greatest characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I loved it. This movie is one of my favorites. I could agree it's not perfect. Like, really, the only issue I have is the villain. That's it. Like, really, I gotta say this is probably one of the best. If I could, I'll probably give it a 10 if I have to, because it's just how good this freaking movie is. Everything played off to be, and it was just an awesome experience, awesome to watch. At one point, this was my favorite MCU movie. As I got older, I started like knowing about what these characters are, because actually, believe it or not, around the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is when the not the Double X Prince, the Weapon Alex, I was creating the website that I have today. This is one of my earlier reviews, and I really thought that this was one of the best, and it really does inspire a lot of filmmakers to take something unknown and just try to be creative with people. Like, you know, it was just really cool. And then also he gets a present from his mom, but he never opened it after all these years, and it happens to be another Awesome Mix Volume 2. He has other songs, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and then more songs that we get in the sequel. It was just really well put together, and basically it shows that they're all family now. It was just a charming movie, one of the best for sure. And this movie didn't need an end credit scene, especially after we found out what it was. It was basically Howard the Duck talking to the collector after everything went to shit. Like a dog is licking his face. Like, why'd you let him lick you like that? Gross. Um, Overall, this is just a fun ass movie. One of my favorites for sure. Star Trek meets Star Wars in a way you could say. Yeah, I really thought that they pulled it off. It was just one of the best in the MCU and best superhero movies out there. Yeah, it was just an incredible movie. It's probably the most rewatchable out of all of them. It's one of my favorites for sure. That's it for this review. Up next is Phase one. Oh, wait, one more thing. I keep forgetting little things. Like I remember in Thor: The Dark World, I forgot about talking about Loki's death, which I'll talk about in Thor 3, so it'll come to play anyways. But in this movie, it did a good job of setting up the sequel. As far as like, yeah, the reason why you could hold the orb that long is because your father had those vibes, and now it gets you excited to know what's next for the Guardians in the next movie. So this was just well put together. So good job, James Gunn. Good job, MCU, for giving us one of the best. Yeah. Now we could close for real. It's me, the AOE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and until then, I'm out.